Order. We have 3 items on the agenda. All will require executive session. If you would indulge me, I would like to rearrange the agenda. We'll do item 1 first. And then I would like to take item 3 and then item 2. Is there a motion to amend the?
So moved.
Second. And a second?
Second.
Call the question. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Haverda?
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. And I'm going to invite Mike Nicolay and Mitch and Chris into the session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Call the question. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Haverda?
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. We are now in executive session. Starting to record again. There were 3 items discussed in executive session. No action was taken. However, I think we are going to take action on 3 items. First of which is the employment contract for Warren Butch Hyatt. Is there a motion to approve the contract that has been successfully negotiated to extend Butch's contract through August 11th, at which point it is anticipated he will become the next chief based on the commission's decision. Is there a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second? Lou?
I'll second.
Thank you. Call the question. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Haverda?
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Motion carries. The second item we discussed was the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Guilford and the Teamsters from July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the contract?
I'll make the motion.
And
Second.
Charles, second. Call the question. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Haverda?
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Item 3, discuss and take possible action on a contract extension for Mary Jane Malavasi from July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Call the question. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Haverda?
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Thank you very much. I just want to take the opportunity, Mitch, thanks for all your work on all of these contracts. You're working very well with Chris Hodgson. Lou, thank you as well. You work on the Teamsters contract. We've had some success, I think, over the last month and a half in moving a number of things. I think before us, as we discussed earlier in executive session, I think we will have the police contract in front of us shortly. So that would be 2 contracts that 2 of the 5 that will be settled for an extended period of time for at least 3 years.
Yep.
And as I think everyone recalls, we've done extensions on a couple of the other ones at this point. So thank you all.
Thanks.
Good. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before we do, can I have a sort of business item?
Yes.
I've heard a couple direct comments and seen some social media discussion on some events that have gone down at the Jacobs Beach. There was a music event of some sort.
Yep.
Just, I'm curious where Park and Rec is with that, what they see, how that's working, if their distancing requirements are being met. At some point, I'd be interested in a little bit of a report on that.
Right. Well, the movie that you're referring to last night ostensibly falls within the state guidelines in terms of crowd size gathering now. They were restricting it to the size limits, enforcing the separation between between parties. Really has to be 6 feet, as opposed to as opposed to being on the beach for which is, I think, 15 feet between parties.
Yeah.
One of the challenges here, people are complaining about people not wearing masks. You don't have to wear a mask when you're with a family member. The state does not require that. And you don't have to wear a mask if you can observe the 6-foot social distancing limit. So I know there are a lot of folks who are ignoring those considerations. There was no greater example of that than the Guilford High School graduation.
Right.
And quite honestly, Lou, Charles, you didn't have the benefit of hearing my tirade at the Democratic Town Committee meeting last week, where unfortunately I used an expletive because I was so disgusted with the performance of the parents and the graduates the night before. So we are, Dennis, we've already been going back and forth, Dennis, Rick Maynard, myself this morning on this issue. And we're going to review whether or not we can effectively control the behavior of the crowd. I will be addressing that in my mass notification today, that if folks cannot abide by the appropriate social distancing and wearing masks when, per the guidelines, we will cancel those concerts. And additionally, we won't hold the concerts on the green this summer.
I have to agree with you completely, Matt, and I support it. I think at this point in time, it really is, all we could do is, it's a PR issue.
Yep.
Well, it's more than a PR issue, but I think at this point in time, early on, we've experienced one. We have to tell the citizenry that, if they're not going to behave, then there are going to be consequences. And it's like what happened with the dog park, and that's the right thing to do because, as a community, we can't take the risk. We're seeing it in other areas and states where, they're trying to move too fast, and we do not need to. I think we got to tell everybody as loudly as we possibly can that, there is still a pandemic and a risk out there, and, these rules are in place, and we're trying real hard to make it a great summer and have some community events. But if they're going to put our citizenry at risk, then we just have to make the decision that the citizens, they either have to be mature and responsible, or we're not going to put them at risk. As simple as that.
Agreed, and that'll be part of my message.
All right. So I think the message is, and I appreciate it. You're on top of it. Rick's on top of it. Dennis gets it.
Well,
Doing what you can, and you're trying to bridge a really difficult, challenging gap, which is to try and return things to normal as much as possible. Have some summer events that feel like life is going on, and at the same time continuing with this public safety, public health matter, which is just really ultimately relatively minor restrictions on what people have to do, but people have to do them. So
right.
Trying to get that message out is important. Appreciate that you're doing it. I can just tell you, not everybody hears it the same way at the same time, and sometimes you're telling them something different.
One of the things I'm considering is requiring people to wear masks if they're going to participate in that kind of in those events.
Right.
Now, the challenge there is enforcement once again.
Right.
All right.
But maybe that's the message, though, Matt. I know we're in a recorded meeting at this point in time, but still, maybe that's what you got to do. And if you have it on the books or in the rules that they have to wear masks, well, how strictly it gets enforced is step two.
Right.
I'm not one that I like. I'm not encouraging you to make rules to not enforce, but at least it gives the powers that be and Rick a chance down there saying, guys, you gotta.
Yep.
I wish people were different, but they're not. It's human nature. But we got to explain to them that there will be consequences if they don't do what's right.
Right, and I think I'm fully within my rights. I'll certainly talk to Pam and to Pete. We have established that requirement for entering public buildings. This is this is public space.
Public property, yeah.
It's public space. So I think of course somebody could challenge me, but let them do it.
Of course, somebody's going to challenge you no matter what you do.
People have totally gotten used, most people, I'm going to say, have really gotten used to going into an indoor space, stores, public buildings. I get it. Our office is that way. Once I'm out of my office, I've got a stack of masks in one of my baskets here. And, we're going to pull them out and use them as need be, right? And so
Yeah.
the same thing sort of applies in our public buildings in town. And maybe in a public event like that. I'm not, listen, this is a challenging thing. I think people do appreciate everything that's going on. And it's helpful to hear that you are taking it seriously and under consideration and working with the appropriate folks to get it square.
Yeah. And Dennis, Dennis is trying to be as flexible as he can be. But these events are now starting to take place all over the state. Other communities are doing the same thing. The guidance from DPH is loosening up. But as a health professional and epidemiologist, it concerns him as well. So.
Yeah. All right.
Would a resolution or anything from this board be of any value? I mean, I can voice my support, and I assume Lou is too, but does anything more official help you in any way?
Let me think about that. Maybe
We meet next week anyway.
For the 6th, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, just, I thought your point about, town properties, and I just would go over strict in your recommendations to the community, and we'll know in a week whether people understand how real it is.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
All right. Well,
we
thanks.
beat this one to death too now.
as we are wont to do. Oh my word. Well, listen.
Yeah, but it's important though. If we don't, it's our job. I mean, quote unquote, we're supposed to be the leaders of the community, and if we don't send the message that this is real, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot easier to avoid getting the virus than trying to fix it.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
All right. By the way, thanks for your flexibility, both of you, on your schedules to make this meeting happen, so Mitch can get these folks enrolled in the HSA. And
Thank you very much, guys. I do appreciate that.
We got Tuesday town meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday morning, 8:30.
Okay.
Hopefully that one will be shorter.
Did we do the motion to adjourn?
Night.
I cut Matt off.
Yeah, you cut me off. So, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call a question. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
All right.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Thank you very much for making this work and another successful meeting.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
All right.
See you, Mitch.
Yeah.